Hey, how's it going?
Hey, totally. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can also hear the nice chirping background.
I'm glad that's enjoyable for people.
It's just makes it makes me envious.
Where are you? You're in DC right now?
Yeah, I mean there are birds here too, but I'm in a building that's full of people working and focusing. So
It's a good thing I'm not sitting outside. I could be outside right now. How's the weather over there in
it's
DC?
pretty great actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I had breakfast. We have a building has a nice roof actually, and I had breakfast on the roof.
That's really nice. How tall is the building?
Like 13 stories. So it's actually quite good. And 12,
Some good
yeah.
overview effect.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually really nice. You get it's right in downtown DC, right next to the White House. So you get to like look into the White House compound.
Monitoring them all at all times.
Right. Literal oversight is the joke.
I guess we'll just wait for 2 more minutes, and doesn't seem like Ray's going to be here. I'm not sure if Dan or Rob are joining. Hopefully, one of them do. Yeah. It's 5 past. You think it's okay to get started? Sure. Hey, Rob.
Rob.
I guess we could start with Ray's notes about the duplication links. Are both of you aware of that, kind of, or should I read what he wrote?
No.
Oh, okay. So he says some analysts notes an uptick in duplication links in their sheets. They always involved a main page and the subdomain. So like epa.gov and epa.gov/hydraulic fracturing. So he's guessing something with versionistas crawl on the main page. He's not sure actually what's happening. So Totally. Can you like talk more about like what they're seeing maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really. I'm a little confused, like why there's uncertainty here, because this is just. I thought we understood this effect, which is that Versionista tracks the same pages across different like sites that it's looking at, and then that gets, I believe Rob just I mean, you should say exactly what you did, Rob. But like right now, the output of the Versionista sheets is that it lists all the possible sites, all the sites that a particular page that's changed is associated with. And maybe people are like seeing an uptick of that. Well, I don't really know if that is because they're noticing it or because something's changed.
I just got the notes pulled up. So I'm not quite sure what we mean by duplication links.
That's not a great term, but I think this is based on the conversation we had at the website monitoring analyst meeting. That's why, otherwise I would not have been able to understand the context from that sentence. But I think it's just about the fact that the same URL appears in different people's domains.
That I mean, that should have always been the case.
It is, yeah. I know.
I mean, I guess maybe we'd see it more if they're all changing with more frequency now.
Right. And,
Okay.
But you changed the way it's outputted. Like this associated domain now lists like all of the sites that.
Right.
And when did that change happen?
I think that change happened at the same time that we coalesced like all the records, because we used to have a totally separate page record for the same URL when it was under like
Right.
EERE and when it was under like EERE special projects or whatever.
Right. But like weeks, months ago.
Well, it's probably months now.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I also thought this was like not a new thing, and maybe just people are noticing it more now, and then it became a thing. So I don't.
Okay.
There's just a separate question of like, should we deduplicate things across sites, and that's not like an easy answer. So I'm hesitant to just tackle it like off the cuff.
Okay. I mean, it's from a technical perspective, it's now very easy to do because they are already technically deduplicated. So.
Right. But the question is like, if you give me
like, what do you want that result to actually look like? Yeah.
I mean, I guess we could output a list of all of the URLs that are basically have a sheet that's like the URL and then all the sites that it's associated with, and then somebody goes through and selects which domain that URL should live in, and then you throw away everything else. So that wouldn't be that hard, but it would require like, I mean, I don't know, we probably have hundreds of things that are duplicated. So it wouldn't be that long, but I also don't know if there's like a good systematic way to go through it.
Yeah. For what it's worth, if I recall when I did it, it's more on the magnitude of like 50 things, 50 or 100 things. Not like hundreds, but
okay, good to know.
I mean,
but yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I'm like fine having some overlap, especially,
especially if it's not like mostly overlap. It's not like people are wasting a huge amount of time on it. And it's maybe better that something gets looked at twice than not at all.
Just a quick one. Is this like related to the maintainers change? Is that what was the thing that coalesced everything together when you added maintainers, Rob?
Yeah. Because we added sites. This is actually sites, not maintainers. But I mean, we did them at the same time in the same go. So yes. Or sorry, not sites. Tags.
Mhm. Okay, so for right now, are we just gonna just hold off on it until it becomes too much of an issue? I guess they're just seeing it more, so they think it's weird, but it's not. It's something that's normal, anyways. They just have just seeing it more. So I
Yeah,
like the recommendation. Yeah.
if I understand what's being talked about correctly, then I can't think of anything technically on our end that would have changed. And the thing that would make you see it more is just if all of those domains are making changes more. So if it corresponds to a general uptick in number of changes to review, then it makes total sense. And there should be nothing surprising about it.
Cool. Okay. We'll just wait on that then, I guess. So the other project manager update that Ray had, he created, and I helped him, the milestone 002 issues. I'll put one. It's in the agenda. I'll drop it in chat real fast. But a lot of it is PRs are kind of done. And really it's waiting for the staging environment. Like the UI PR that I had open, I wanted to test it on staging, but because Dan, I wish Dan was here, was talking about he was getting ready to deploy or get the Ansible deployment onto staging sometime this week. So that's kind of being blocked by that. And then everything else that follows is, they're blocked by the previous thing. So then there's the UI thing, and then in DB, there's the actual removing of the include versions, which I updated thanks to Rob's feedback. If you have a chance to look at that, Rob, that'd be great. And then
okay, I don't think that needs to or should be part of milestone 002. Like it's a thing we do need to generally get to, but I don't know that it's like a gating part of 002. Anyway, okay. Sorry, it's not really here nor there.
Okay. So the UI, yeah, because you're saying that the versions it's like a more of a far future problem, and it's nice that we're taking care of it now. Because if we start ingesting, it won't be like too overwhelming. Right?
Yeah.
From my. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we can do ingests that don't take as much history, so that it exacerbates the problem less. And mm-hmm. if we update UI so that it's never requesting that type of request, then it won't really matter anyway.
Oh,
this is really more about like causing clients that we have forgotten about somehow that are doing it to explode, so that it's very obvious.
Okay, so the UI should go in, and then we should deploy the IA import script and start testing that out and make sure that all works in.
Yeah.
Really, for
consequently, totally, if for Web Integrity Project you've started to use any version of like the DB for anything so that you have more efficient scraping, okay, then you don't need to give a crap about this because it won't affect you. But if you do at some point, well, if you do in the future, it should just all automatically be good. But you'll have to make sure that your scraper is in sync, because this scraper had to make some changes for the version of it that hits the DB instead of hits version USTA directly.
Good to know. Yeah, thanks.
So in that case, I'll merge UI. And Rob, do you think you can just push it to staging for me, since I haven't got a chance to learn how to do that?
Oh, you don't know how to do it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that. Sorry, I didn't realize that was the problem. I thought the problem was just that you thought it was going away and weren't sure whether you should push to it. Okay.
Yeah. I never picked it up because like there was all that like change between Kubernetes and Ansible, and then and then I was just like, okay, I'll just wait, and then always waited.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then now like Ansible is so close, it's just like it feels like I shouldn't spend time thinking about the Kubernetes once, because Dan went through a walkthrough and he has like a testing environment for the Ansible deployment, and then he walked me, Dan, and Francis through it. Like we did it all together in one day, like installed everything at the same time and stuff like that. So that it was all working well. So I was like, okay, once he gets us to staging, then it will be like really close to working already on all our computers. Yeah. Okay. So for the import script, then when should that be merged, or like how?
I don't know. I haven't had time to look at it in weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll wait for Dan for that too, then, just to see how he's coming along, and then.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess the only thing, if we deploy it, merge it, would you have time, Rob, sometime, like, can we schedule just like 15 minutes, 20 minutes where you can help me kind of like know how to monitor it, and then I can just monitor it?
How to monitor which?
The IA importing.
Oh, okay. We should get Sentry integrated onto that, so that it is possible to monitor it rather than having to log into the machine and stare at logs all the time, which is basically impossible to get to like know that something meaningfully went wrong, rather than already knowing that something went wrong and investigating why. The logs are better for that latter case.
Okay. Yeah, I have like not good experience in that area, so like, I definitely would need a hand. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then in that case, I don't. Is there any thoughts on 002 next steps? Or anything we should look out for?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay. And then quick developer. So my developer updates were basically that. I don't know if you have any updates, Rob.
Nope.
Okay. And yeah, quickly, I guess, for on the hiring side. So Ray's been working really hard getting all the job description stuff up and the hiring process, and it's come along really well. He has the software development senior position all written up, and it's getting close to like pretty much approval from the SE. So hopefully we should be posting for that like in the next week or so. The PM, the project lead, he's gathering input from everybody on like the type of responsibilities for the project lead. It's in a document somewhere. I'm sorry, it's not in the agenda, but it's like a work in progress right now. Yeah. And Dan, last we heard from Dan, he was working on getting Ansible on staging. So I'll ping him and see where he's at on that. Yeah. So, Totally, do you have anything else to bring up?
Well, just still working on several reports. We collaborated with a Washington Post journalist on some changes to the CDC's National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health website. These are actually pages that you ingested, Rob, into Scanner, and Justin Derry wrote a great extensive report on that. So it's pretty awesome that it's going to be featured in a Post article coming out later this week or next week.
Nice.
Yeah. Other than that, just like a lot of things going on, and Eric, I think, is pushing on his script analysis of like term changes and thinking about like how to systematically look at the entire span of the versionista pages that we're looking at, and then trying to condense information so that we don't need to be monitoring everything, or someone can review the output of like a script that looks at term analysis on a weekly or monthly basis or something like that. So then you can follow along in web monitoring research for that.
I was gonna say, I guess one last thing. We had a new person create a pull request on the processing side. It's a GSOC student from IA, and he's actually working on getting a scanner into an archive. Was anybody aware of that beforehand, or it was news to me when he made the pull request?
That was the first I'd heard of it when I saw that PR. It would have been nice to have somebody, either them let us say hi beforehand, or somebody from IA say, hey, we're tasking a GSOC student to do some stuff on this.
Yeah. So cool. I think, well, since nobody was, I think I'll want to reach out to that person and just kind of see. I'm not sure if they're just going to stick to the processing repo, or they're like looking throughout the entire like web monitoring stuff, but because it sounds like they're going to be committed to a 3-month period, so I'll reach out to this person and just try to help them as much as I can.
Cool.
And I think that's about it. Anything else, anybody? We can end it early.
Yeah, I mean, I guess on the IA point, I wonder what you guys. I've talked to got a chance to talk to Ray and Dan about this, but wonder what you guys are thinking about in terms of like, seeing if the IA is interested in playing a bigger role, especially if a GSOC student is not a bigger role the way we're envisioning it, but with funding coming in, Ray actually brought up at maybe 2 or 3 steering committee meetings ago that it's possible to use the funding to pay someone else at like another organization. I don't know if there was ever a resolution on that, but people were like not negative and were like, that's an interesting idea, we should explore it. So I don't know, what do you guys think in terms of finding ways to make the project more robust by having like more institutional support? IA is one option, but there's like ProPublica and other potential interested, like civic tech-minded organizations. What do you guys think?
I was gonna say, I think it's a great idea, and it seems like they're, at least Internet Archive, are really interested if they have like a student going to work on this all summer. I imagine once we have the job description approved by the steering committee, then we'll probably like just approach them first, like here, like, hey, this is the type of person we're looking for. Maybe you guys can help us out or not. But at the time, it wasn't opposed by anybody on the steering committee either. So I think it's just approaching them and asking like yes or no.
Yeah, I don't think. It would be great. The project is just hurting for people who have the time to dedicate to work on it. So however we can get that. I think the thing to be careful of with institutional support is that their goals are aligned with what we're trying to do, or at least not counter to them. So I think IA focusing its work, or the GSOC students' work on differ is great, because that's a pretty abstract piece, and improvements for them will pretty much universally also be improvements for us. But like if they were working on Scanner, then I think there'd be like lots of big questions about like, how do we make sure that like the things they want out of it and the goals they have for it don't like make the experience worse for our analysts. So I think that's the thing to be careful of with institutional support. It's great. And there's pieces of the stack where like it's pretty much unequivocally wonderful, and then pieces of it where it's like, okay, we should be careful that like we structure this in a way that we're not working against each other or something.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense. That's why I was like, I think it'll make sense to reach out to that person and just have a better idea of like what they're actually interested in about the whole project. I know there's a Slack channel that I don't know if it's who shares it with IA. I know Rob and Ray are on it. Does a lot of discussion happen on that channel, Rob, or is it just kind of like if you guys need to ping them for something, you guys use it? And I'm just curious why, like, they didn't.
Well, there's an Internet Archive Slack team, so like Wayback Researchers Group, and there's all kinds of people on there. It's not super active. Occasionally something will pop up, and there's fits and spurts of stuff, but it's not super active. And then there's an extra channel on there that is just for us and IA folks, and that's pretty darn sleepy. There's very rarely anything on there.
Okay.
I mean, Rob and Kevin, how do you guys feel about trying to set up? I know Ray's tried to do this, but there's been some radio silence from Mark recently. How do you guys feel about setting up a chat the next like week or two? And I don't know if like everyone needs to be on it, but I think we're in pretty good terms to have some like real talk with them, and feel like we have our own agenda, but they're like with the thing we want to make, we have a thing, which is like awesome, and you guys have been talking about like diffing for a long time, but you haven't acted on it. No, I'm not gonna say it like that, but like this is the moment. So like let's see if we can do something about it, and just kind of approach it pretty seriously. What do you guys think? Would you be interested in being part of a call like that? I mean, personally, I think it would be great to have you on there so you can talk like you actually know the stuff.
Well, I think catch up with Ray first so we don't have a left-hand, right-hand situation. But yeah.
I mean, definitely would be good to talk collectively. But my sense is from conversation with Ray is that he's down to have that conversation.
You can throw it in Slack maybe just in the web monitoring team channel, I guess, or I don't know. Is there a good channel, or maybe just a DM?
I don't know. Yeah, Mark does like hang around the web monitoring channel sometimes. We could start it on a DM. But cool. The other quick thing, do you guys know about Common Crawl?
A little bit. What do you want to know about it?
I just feel like an idiot that's like, oh, I've been like monitoring websites for a year and a half, and then like this thing apparently exists which has been pulling down websites for like on a monthly basis. So I just want to calibrate how dumb I should feel about the fact that I'm just learning about it, or maybe like I've heard of it and I didn't internalize it. Is it useful? Is it a useful source of data for Scanner, for anything else? It seems like it's all on AWS and you kind of need to pull it out yourself, but it'll still be useful.
It's not useful for us. So the way to think of Common Crawl is that it's trying to do a regular random sample of the internet. So we need consistency of particular things. And Common Crawl is trying to say, the internet is this giant crazy place and we want to talk about the internet as a whole. So to support scientists in doing that, we need to generate regular random sampling, which is sort of the opposite of our use case.
Okay. Got it. All right. Their website is actually surprisingly not that informative for like the parameters of their crawl.
Yeah, it takes reading a lot of articles to finally understand, it's a giant random sample of the internet.
Okay. So, like a statistical approach to the internet. Okay. Well, sounds good. Yeah, that's all I had.
Cool. Yeah. So totally. If you can just make sure everybody's in the loop about the IA combo, and then
Sounds good.
I'll merge UI and then I'll ping you, Rob, if you can just pop it onto staging.
Okay.
Then I think that's the next steps, and then I'll ping Dan too, just to see where he's at, and then, yeah, about the script and how to get that up. Okay. All right. Good seeing you guys. Talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Have a great day, everyone.